So all there is this. All there is what's happening. Room, bodies, sounds, breathing, hopefully breathing, maybe. Breathing. Feelings, thoughts. There's just what's happening. And what's being suggested here is that is just energy, just pure energy. There's just energy. Physicists have discovered that the whole of the universe is just made up of energy in the end. Particle physicists go down right through the atom, the particles, and the quarks, and they come to the conclusion that actually all there is energy. So this is what's being said here, energy.
What is energy?
Well, I don't know, do you? But basically, there's just energy, life, if you like, life energy. All there is life energy. And there is nothing that has any authority over that energy. There's nothing else that's driving or directing that energy. That energy has no intention of any kind. It just is energy happening. It's wild, crazy, unpredictable. And also it can appear to be ordered and logical, like it can appear as a room with bodies and so on. Things that work, like microphones and so on. Well, they sometimes work anyway. And so it's free to be anything and is everything. Literally, all there is energy, which is everything. And it also is like a magician. This energy can be anything and turn itself into anything. So it can move faster than light and also at the same time be total emptiness. So we're talking, what we're sharing today is a mystery, it's a paradox. It can't be understood. What this is about is pointing to something that can never be comprehended. It can't be grasped. It can't be owned. Nobody will ever get it. Nobody ever gets it. And yet people spend their lives, and there are lifetimes that are spent, and huge energy is spent in trying to find the answer to this mystery. So energy is free, and totally free, and also because it's free, it can be limited as well. It can be boundless and also contracted. And that contracted energy can enter the human physiology. And when it does, then what arises in the human physiology is a sense of separation. Suddenly there's a sense of there being something in here, an energy in here, which is separate from everything else. And what you could call that is the beginning of individuality. In a tiny child, that individuality is there, not recognized, and then it grows, and it grows, and it grows, because the child grows and lives in what seemed to be a world full of other individuals, other people, other persons, other selves, who also may confirm that they feel as though they are an individual in here and everything else is separate out there. So separation is something that arises in the human physiology, and it brings with it a sort of dream, a hypnotic dream arises in that separation. And the dream is that I am real, I'm a real person, and I was really born, and I will really live, and I will really die. And I have real free will and choice. I can influence this life. And I'm in a real life story. This story is the story of me, which I can influence to some extent. And so that whole reality arises for the individual as a reality that it really believes in, and that the individual really believes that reality is real. It believes it's fixedly real. And also the nature of that reality that only me can live in, only the self can live in, is that it's a subject-object reality. I'm the subject and everything else is the object. I'm something here happening, and everything else that's happening is another something. And it's happening to me. Subject, object, separation. I'm this, that's what's out there. In that reality, with that experience of being separate, there comes a deep dissatisfaction. Most people don't necessarily recognize that. They live in that world, in that reality. But some people are sensitive enough to feel that there's something missing. There's a lack. There's something that isn't fulfilling about living in a separate existence, being separate to another person, being separate to the wall, the tree, the sky. Me, the self, the I, the individual, never sees the sky or a tree or another person except through cling film, except through a veil of separation. They never feel feelings, they never think thoughts as they naturally are. They are already coming through a veil of separation. So that is deeply dissatisfying. And people try to find the answer to that. So they go and look in religion, therapy, and they also go and try and find an enlightened, what's called an enlightened teacher, who can teach them to become enlightened. Because that sounds like maybe that's the answer to this unfulfillment. And of course the other thing is that the individual that lives in this special individual reality also believes that they have to make their lives work. So they go to somebody else to teach them how to find fulfillment. How do I find fulfillment? How do I get over this feeling of lack? And a priest will teach them Christianity, Buddhism, don't matter what it is. And an enlightened teacher will teach them that they need to meditate or self-inquire, or there's a list. It's a big list. It's not quite as big as Christianity, but it's quite big. And so the person has to learn, the individual has to learn how to become worthy of fulfillment. The individual has to learn how to change, how to become better, how to be more still, how to be forgiving, how to be accepting, how to surrender. It's endless. But in some way or other, it's an idea that they need to change in order to become worthy of what they long for. And the strange thing is, that what they long for has never gone away. They think it has, they feel it has, so they seek for it. But actually what they long for, unconditional love, is all there is. The seeker, living in a separate reality, in a finite reality, going around in a circle, is looking for something that's infinite, that can't be found. It can't be found because it's already everything. It hides from the seeker that's looking for a something. I'm going to find something else called fulfillment. It's over there, it's out there. It isn't out there, it's everything already. So this is what we're sharing together. This is what's being shared here. Two things really, in a sense. The possibility that the whole of the structure of me is actually an artificial construct. And the reality, the subject-object reality that me lives in, that the self lives in, is simply not real, not in any sense real, although the individual thinks it is. So that we can share together. And it's possible that in sharing that the fixed beliefs and ideas that me grows up with about its own nature and the nature of the reality it thinks it lives in, that it's possible that a whole construct can crumble. And so talking together somehow can bring some sort of exposure, sharing together ideas about their nature reality. But really the most freeing, liberating thing that happens in these meetings is beyond words. It's beyond understanding. It can't be comprehended. It's energetic. And that energy is the freeing up of that apparent contraction, back into boundlessness, back into freedom. It's the apparent freeing of that imprisoned, that self, in a way, created prison, out of that into a boundless freedom.
My name is Jan Heijn, and I'm asking this question about this is all energy. So, what is energy was my question. Yet, I assume it's just all that is perceived. And all
Sorry,
that
I
is,
can't
that,
quite hear.
that I assume you mean with that is all that is perceived, happening, felt, seen, colors.
Well, it can be perceived, but it is all there is. It's what is all there is, but it doesn't need to be perceived to be what is.
Right. Because that is quite different from many teachers.
I'm not a teacher, but yes.
I understand.
Not quite different.
I understand. Message.
It's totally different, actually.
So the message is somewhat different, I think, in that there is no experiencing in your story or in this message.
No, the description is that all there is what is, and there are two realities. One is that the me thinks or dreams that it experiences what is, but only as something that's real, and the natural reality is that what is all there is. There isn't anything that experiences it or knows it. It's a mystery.
Hello, Tony. In excruciating pain, it's very hard to see, to not go into duality, into...
Well, hold on a minute.
For me, it's very hard to
all
see.
the time there's a me, it lives in duality.
Yeah, but especially in excruciating pain, it's hard to say, oh, this is the divine love.
Oh, well, no, those are just words. Me can't comprehend the words, all there is unconditional love. They're just words. When the me is there, its experience is that isn't how it is. Its experience is that it lives in a separate, threatening world, so it's not unconditional love. So those words are meaningless. I mean, let's be clear about something. Clarity is not liberation. Being clear that all there is unconditional love is not liberation. When me collapses, when the illusion of me collapses, all there is unconditional love, but there isn't anybody that knows that.
Okay. Yeah.
There just is that. And that's why it can't be described or known.
So still this what if questions coming up.
What if?
What if? What if you're in this pain and...
Oh no, well, there are two realities. One is that the me is in
and don't
is having
get
pain.
the resistance.
Yeah. So there are two realities. One is that me is in pain and takes ownership of the pain.
Yeah.
And the other one is that they're just pain.
Yes.
But when you start, when you start saying, pain is unconditional love, that's completely incomprehensible to me. Nothing is unconditional love because everything is separate and painful.
Hello, I'm Cynthia. What is actually driving the actions that the body of Tony Parsons is doing?
Energy.
There's no.
There's just
this is
energy. There isn't anything that's driving it. There's nothing that intends that this should happen. It's
Okay.
just what's happening. Like everything. The me wants to live in a world that has meaning and purpose because it feels that it's separate and it's in a journey. Because I'm on a journey, me, then I want my journey to have meaning and purpose. That's within that subject-object reality.
Yeah.
In the natural reality, everything is simply energy apparently happening without meaning or purpose. So there isn't anything that's driving energy, there's just energy happening. There isn't another, like some people say, all there is consciousness. Well, consciousness is a form of knowing. That's only still within the story. But me wants to know. But the natural reality, there isn't something that's running energy, there's just energy. And it's going anywhere and everywhere. So it doesn't have any direction or intention or meaning.
Yeah, I try to understand this knowing that it's just energy. It's just your normal. Yeah. Oh, it's so different to put in words.
It is, yeah. This is beyond knowing in that sense. Beyond awareness or knowing.
In
or
this life,
this life. Yeah.
you don't have the sense of the me like most human people do. You don't have that sense anymore. It's
are you
just
asking
always,
me?
Yeah.
Oh no, there's nothing left. There's nothing here that has a sense of anything. There's just what is.
Okay.
And that's a mystery. It can't be. The me can't conceive of anything happening without it being there. How can anything be real or happening without my experience of it? It's an amazing, actually, sort of wonderful arrogance. But actually life goes on absolutely without me. Me is not necessary for life to happen. All that's left here, because me is no longer, the illusion of there being a me here, knowing life is no longer here, all that's left is life. Without anyone knowing it. It's very simple and natural.
Yeah,
and
for you. Not for you, but for...
So all the intentions come from the ego.
Well, they come from the sense of self, which, if you want to call it ego, yeah, for me, they come from the sense of the self or the me being set in a separate reality.
So
and trying to escape it.
So
me constantly is trying to escape that reality.
Sorry, what's that?
Escape it, or find something better.
So the Sufi said, for example, God wants to that you make him or her or it to live up in the earth, at the earth.
Right,
God wants to live in you and to shine on the earth.
So that's a belief.
There's nothing in the energy, you say, to want to have a purpose. Okay.
All religious orders are invariably based on a subject-object reality. Mm-hmm. They can begin, there are some apparent religions that begin speaking in this way that's very simple and direct, but because the mind can't comprehend what's being said here right now, okay, that me can't accept what's being said here, that there's no me, there's just life, can't accept it, it rejects it out of hand, but directly that communication is heard by me or the self or the I, me or the I or the self turns that back into a discipline, a prescription, a religion. Sufism, Zen, for instance, the very early Zen was no sort of teaching at all, but very quickly turned into a teaching. There's even a form of Buddhism called Dzogchen, which started without any sense of any teaching at all, and very quickly turned back into a teaching. So Sufism, the Sufism you're talking about, as far as this is concerned, is just another teaching that is born and only lives in the subject-object reality. That God intends to live in you and experience life through you.
So the problem is that the starting of the teaching, that's what you're saying.
Sorry,
the problem really is the starting of the teaching.
No, the problem is separation. The energy of separation, as I explained at the beginning, instills in this body, in the human physiology, a sense of a separate identity. Thereafter, that separate identity lives in an artificial reality, which it believes, and the great dilemma for me, the individual, is that the individual believes it is real and that the reality it lives in is real.
And then you went to say Zen. Early Zen was without teaching. Early Buddhism was without teaching.
No, not early Buddhism. There was a section of Buddhism called Dzogchen, and there were people in it, Longchenpa and those people, who, if you read what they were saying, they weren't in any way prescribing anything. They were thrown out. The Buddhist total organization expelled the Dzogchen movement in that setting. It then re-entered based on a discipline or a teaching about finding something. And if you look at Dzogchen today, it's very, like all of the other Buddhisms, it's a teaching of prescription.
And what about Christianity?
Same thing.
Started
It
without
was a guy
teaching.
called Jesus Christ, do you remember him? And he, no. But I sense that a lot of what he said, although nobody knows what he really did. There were 75 Gospels written, by the way. Nobody really knew what but I sense that he was pointing at that time to this, and then directly that was over, then the separate self has to come in and turn that into a path, a teaching, a way of finding something, subject-object. It has to do that because the mind, the seeking energy, can't accept that there is no one and nothing to find.
You could say God is the mystery.
Well, you could say, but God is so related, these days has so much become an object.
Yeah, but really the essence of that is God is the mystery.
Well, all there is God, all there is energy. I prefer all there is in energy because it's more impersonal than God with a beard and it's less confusing. Energy doesn't have to keep the accounts and work out whether you're going to heaven or hell. Yeah?
No gates. Seeing as I've got the mic, all I can say for where I am now is I am and I'm not. There's a sense of I'm not, and there's also still the sense of I am. So just have to relax with that.
Well, there are quite a lot of people who have what I call an awakening, like there's a glimpse of this, and then they're in that middle ground where there's still the me influence going on, and being is also there, so they sort of dance between the two. And it's not all over because there's still the residue of me, which may be there for the rest of that in that living body, but can suddenly collapse. And as I say, there is no sense of subject-object reality anymore. There simply is life happening for no one.
It's just enjoy life.
No. Oh no, because the implication there is that then there will be somebody enjoying life. No. There's no one.
This is where words are
just
difficult.
Life.
Yeah.
This message has always been around, but hidden and overlaid by that which teaches a path.
Well, you say as children, and this is what I like with your teaching, is
childlike wonder.
Children have it, and you see that, and so we've had it anyway.
We are it. Well, we aren't it, but there is only that. Beingness. Children, there isn't something that has being, there just is beingness.
Yeah.
But you're quite right, a young, tiny child is pure beingness. It doesn't have any sense of identity.
So we were that in this lifetime?
Well, we weren't. We became we.
Being was...
Yeah, we moved into that artificial reality.
I would like to ask, why is this false self? Is that coincidence or?
No, it's what apparently happens, and when the seeker arises, the first thing it asks, or one of the main things it asks, is why am I seeking? Mm-hmm. That's a question that can't be answered because there's nothing to find, and there actually is no seeker. It's only an appearance of a seeker. And the other thing that's behind the question, why am I separate, really, is how do I not be separate? And there's no answer to that either. The me that lives and can only exist in a subject-object world can't find what it's looking for because what it's looking for is beyond that reality. It's living in an artificial reality, a finite reality, and what it longs for is the infinite. But it can only exist in the finite, known reality, or the reality that it thinks it knows is real. So there's no answer to why or how.
Okay. And within that reality, is it all coincidence, or do things happen for a reason?
No, it's just what's happening. The coincidence is incidental to this. All there is what's happening.
Hello. Hi. Hi. I am thinking. You say that everything is energy, and everything is connected. Actually.
Well, it's energy.
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean by connected.
Yeah, that everything is energy. So
yeah.
We are together, energy, right?
Well, no.
No, really. No.
We arise. Energy can, as I said, contract, and out of that contraction can arise an apparent we. The I, the me, the self, is simply wholeness, if you like it for another word, appearing to be something that's separate from wholeness.
Separate, yeah. In the meantime, I am thinking, I heard a lot that they say people, the human race, are destroying the planet.
Oh, they are?
Destroying?
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. But if everything is energy, how is it possible that we are destroying another energy?
Because energy can destroy itself quite easily.
Yeah.
It does every moment. I don't know whether you know, but even your body is changing, and so energy can destroy or build or create. Energy is a magician, it can do anything.
Oh, okay.
But the problem for me is that me thinks there's a good and a bad, a better and a worse. So it thinks anything like destroying the planet is bad, and there's an opposite good. Me lives in polarity. It lives in that's God. Don't let him in. So it lives in the polar. There are opposites: good, bad, higher, lower, inner and outer. And they can't comprehend that destroying the planet is simply another thing that's actually apparently happening. It's only apparently happening.
Yeah.
It's not really happening.
No.
Like everything else, it's both real and unreal. It is and it isn't.
Yeah.
It's only an appearance. All of this is only nothing appearing as this, in which things seem to be happening.
Yeah, it's quite weird because if you say that everything is energy and then I see like a tree.
A what?
When I see a tree, for example,
a
tree, then I think it's not a tree, it's my imagination, it's only energy.
Well, yes, that's conceptual.
Yeah.
It's just another idea. When there's no me, there isn't anything that, those ideas simply collapse because there's no need to have an idea about the tree being energy. It's obviously wholeness,
Yeah,
tree.
exactly, yeah.
Did you throw him away, God? Was it all right?
What I'm hearing, the words I'm hearing are very close to what Spinoza was saying. Did you?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I think I read a bit of his stuff. Yeah.
So
yeah. I don't know, but I didn't. This is not coming out of anything that's known or learned. It's coming out of nothing.
it's just a resonance of
Right.
what Spinoza has written.
Yeah. Some people have said that. Yeah.
Excuse me?
Some people have suggested that it's similar.
Yes. Absolutely. There's no doubt.
Maybe a strange question. So you speak?
I don't speak. Speaking happens.
Yeah, okay.
You don't speak. Speaking happens.
Can I think there is no purpose anymore in life. Is that right? Okay. And you don't feel depressive? You look not depressive.
So there isn't anyone here that has feelings, and the feeling of depression doesn't seem to happen. No. Even though God knocks on the window and says. This is I think what's behind that is this is a message of absolute wonder and joy. It's not nihilism. Nihilism is another belief system. This is pointing to the difference in the reality which me lives in which there's purpose to be fulfilled and there's a target and an aim to get somewhere else. What this is saying is that what is longed for has never gone away. It never came and it never went away because what is longed for is unconditional love. And this life is simply, what's happening in this room is simply unconditional love. And it's speaking to every seeker saying, hello, I'm here already, I never went away. Speaking through breathing, feeling, thought, through what is. What is the beloved. So it's not a message that is depressing, it's a message that's absolutely joyful.
That's a little bit joke.
Oh, I see.
But when I read about non-dualism, I get first a feeling of emptiness.
It does point to emptiness, but of course what it's pointing to is that when the me, which lives in a separate reality, is no more, then all there is emptiness. And in that emptiness, of course, there's fullness. Everything is both, the absolute and the relative are one thing. The mind objectifies them and calls them something, puts a label on them and calls the absolute something over there and the relative something over there. But actually they're both the same thing. So emptiness is fullness.
Yeah, I mean also the emptiness of feeling what to do now and the meditation. I have for 20 years had no any function that kind of thinking.
Right, yeah. There's nothing to do because everything is fulfilled already.
So meditation is useless.
First of all, the idea of meditation is usually based on the idea that on the belief that there is someone who can choose to meditate. But already what's been established is that there is the idea of there being an individual with free will and choice is an illusion. meditation may or may not happen. There isn't anything that's good or bad, and there's no suggestion here that meditation or seeking should cease or begin. It's absolutely beyond the idea that there's anyone that can seek or not seek, and it's pointing to another possibility. It's got again. Yeah. It's a bit of rather a boring call sign there, isn't it? It should be much more, more.
Tony sitting here in this resonance gives a lot of relaxation and relief and just easy, etc. And when you say separation starts, then contraction starts in the body. Do you have experience with contraction or something? Is there stress? Because the me knows a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And it is sitting here, it is like no stress, just easy, light, fun, etc. So can you say something about the contraction and because,
Well, contraction into being a separate self in here, if you want to call it that, obviously would bring fear and tension, because the whole sense of living in here is that there's another whole world out there that's separate, that could be threatening.
Yeah.
In lots of different ways, not only in the ordinary primal way, but in psychologically, the whole sense of everything being out there can bring a lot of tension and neurosis, especially with regard to other apparent people. Mm-hmm. When the me grows up or starts to grow up and meets other people who tell it how to live or not how to live or da-da-da-da-da, all those things can have bring a lot of tension and neurotic behavior to the self. So the self, in a sense, lives in a state of continual dissatisfaction because it feels as though it's been thrown out of heaven or home or wherever you like, because it feels separate. That's an underlying dissatisfaction. But also on top of that is the threat or the tension of living in a world which can seem to attack it or criticize it or judge it. I mean, there are obviously experiences which are also positive, like enjoying this and enjoying that, but all of those things come and go because the me lives on a train called What's Next. It's like I went to a lecture recently called Who's Driving the Dream Bus in London. So it's a very good simile, really, that, or allegory, that me is the dreamer driving a dream bus, and the dreamer, me, or the self, thinks it's going somewhere, and it thinks it can also meet people that can help it make the bus go faster or in the straight line, which is, what needs to happen for me. And it goes on driving this dream bus to somewhere it thinks it's going to. But actually, it's in a circus. Or a fair. Have you ever been to a fair where there's those roundabouts? And on them, when I was a kid, I got in a train with a steering wheel. And I thought I was really driving it around, but actually it was going around in the circle. So it's the same thing. And therefore, living as a separate entity brings a lot of tension and dissatisfaction. And also the other thing that brings a lot of tension is trying to make that life better.
But do you... contraction is also a part of energy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's energy apparently contracting.
So you also, not you, but anyway, know contraction.
More in a sort of primal way. If this walked across the road and a bus was coming down,
Then,
this would jump automatically, the brain, and there would be tension in that, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And Tony, are you aware of that?
No, there is no awareness. Awareness
100%
is
no.
something that keeps me together. Awareness feeds me. Yeah. For awareness to function, it has to have something to be aware of. So it has to have something that's separate that it can be aware of. So awareness simply feeds separation. When me collapses, there's no awareness.
What we've been talking about here brings another thought to mind. I think of earlier you were talking that you think Jesus may have been pointing to this.
He could have been. It's difficult to say.
Right. It's right. The question that comes up for me now is it possible for the tension to work in the reverse order? I think of when he supposedly said, oh my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Is it possible that outside tension could cause the me to arise?
Well, certainly there could be a sense of being forsaken. It wouldn't necessarily, you don't need a me for that to apparently happen. I don't know what the circumstances are, I wasn't there at the time, but in a sense, when there is no longer me, anything can happen and everything does happen. But it doesn't necessarily happen to a me. Don't forget, Christ was talking in a language which was of his time. So it's very difficult to say anything about what he did say or didn't say. I mean, it's supposed that he also said, seek and you shall find. But it's ridiculous, that's farcical. Seek and you can guarantee you never will find. But was there somebody there?
If there's no awareness, how do you become aware of the bus that is approaching you?
Oh no, you don't. The brain does. The brain records that there's a bus approaching at high speed. And makes the body jump. The brain, don't forget, the brain is a recorder of everything that's happening and a responder to it. You'd be amazed how much, virtually all that's going on in this room is recorded and responded to by the brain. Which is the brain, that thing in there.
So then you say the brain is aware.
The brain is nothing braining, of course, but the brain has a way of recording what's happening and responding to it.
And then there's awareness of that.
Well, not as far as I'm concerned, no. You don't have to have awareness for there to be a recognition or recording of something happening. Awareness essentially for me, these words are funny here, but awareness essentially for me is only available to that which is separate, that can be aware of something else.
It's puzzling.
When I think of unconditional love, I also had to think about my niece, which she was born 12 years ago, and then when she was born, there was a kind of feeling of love, very strong, and that has never changed. So it's kind of also feels like a kind of unconditional love in a way. You could say.
I mean, in a sense, there is something that, not the me, of course, but there is something that within which unconditional love can arise and be recognized.
Yeah, that was the question. If that isn't the me, then or is the part? Yeah.
No, I mean, the me isn't a constant because it's only a construct anyway. It's a very transient thing. Even in deep sleep, there's no me. So, and in the day, there can be no me, and there can be unconditional love for no one. You may think that you're experiencing it, but it's just what's happening. Automatically, most people who live in me think it's then their experience, but actually it's just what's happening.
Yeah, okay. But it's it seems connected to my niece. So that's
well, you don't have a niece. There's no.
So that's
there's
also
no such thing as a niece.
No, that's what I mean. So there's also a funny part of it
Yeah.
that I think that it has something to do with another person.
Yeah, absolutely.
But actually, it has nothing to do with another person who is my niece.
No.
But it's just what is. But it's funny because how is that after liberation then? Because you have children, so there's also kind
No, I
of
don't have anything.
No, you don't have. But I mean.
So the whole idea, for convenience sake, this uses the word I, but it's only a figure of speech.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But the me does label things as niece or son or mother or whatever, and in that labeling tends to naturally turn those things, or not naturally, but obviously turns those things into an object. Mm-hmm. So the niece is then an object, or the mother is. After liberation, this may call something a niece or a mother, but it doesn't see them as an object.
No, so it's also, I think, typical of the me that you tend to love one more than another.
Yeah.
So after liberation, that's all gone.
Well, except that there are different levels of energy. There is an energetic, don't forget, everything is energy. So there can be something energetically more in harmony with this than something else. So, having preferences about this person or that person arise because of energy. It's a difference of energy. It's more intense or less intense.
Yeah, but
that's life happening. Life, L-I-F-E.
But it's more even, maybe, or more.
It isn't so pronounced, but it's still there.
Because for me it can be so much difference. I love her, not her.
Yeah.
That is even more.
Yeah, more even. Everything is more even. Everything is neutral, of course, because it's no thing happening.
Yeah.
So there isn't that dramatic peak. I shall level the mountains, and that I shall flatten the mountains and level the valleys.
Yeah.
Jesus said that. He's that guy who's
again.
On the